Evening, everybody. Welcome to the Block 9 podcast. I am the Crazy Pilgrim, Michael, and I'm joined tonight by Carl Bernard and also Andy, the Grumpy Loyal. We've got a few other guests that are going to come in later on as well that have contributed in previous sessions to us. But yes, tonight's game is going to be reviewing the match against QPR. So this game ended with both sides taking a point. For Argyle, though, and from my point of view, it really did feel like a win, especially after the 2 red cards and certainly the early one with Forshaw set us back. QPR will probably see this as a missed opportunity because they had a lot of the shots and attacking play and just didn't obviously manage to capitalise on that, thanks to a man of the match performance by Connor Hazard. But in the first half, QPR struck early on, which was frustrating from a set-piece corner with just 2 minutes on the clock. To be fair, very well whipped in corner and flicked on at the near post and just went straight past Hazard. I don't think any keeper saving that. But, to be fair to Argyle, they didn't crumble and collapse a bit like Wednesday. They probably dominated the rest of that half in terms of ball possession. The stats would suggest that. So it was a good positive response from Argyle. And then on the 28th minute, Whittaker with a thunderous, probably 25-yard shot. In fairness, he did go to hard pass it to someone. Defender stuck his leg out and it just rebounded off, and Whittaker with his momentum just went in and smashed it into the bottom right-hand corner. So, and interestingly, Argyle's only shot on target. So that was critical from Whittaker. But, look, things then took straight after that took a turn for Argyle with Adam Forshaw collecting a second yellow. Probably the first yellow was a bit harsh. The referee probably could have let that go. He was all over the player a bit, but it's just one of those. But his second yellow was just reckless. No need to do it. Down in the bottom corner of Argyle's, goal. And it was just like, why did you do it? And he knew it as soon as he made the tackle. So he went off, and Argyle then were down to 10 men up until Freddie Issaka's late on. So, despite being a man down, though, Argyle did control the rest of that first half, and some would argue and say that didn't even really notice Forshaw wasn't in the game. So, that was a good testament to how well Argyle were playing, controlling the ball, but we were still lacking stuff in the final third, and Whittaker's, Argyle's only shot on target, really testament to that, which was a shame, but a much improved Argyle. Late in the first half, though, JB did pick up a yellow card, which really sort of caused us a few issues for Rooney because, midfield, we just lost Forshaw, and JB had probably one of his best game of the season so far. And it was a shame because he was creating some attacking moves for Argyle. Second half, though, as we expected, QPR came at us from the off, trying to really maximise then this time that man advantage. Argyle really didn't get many chances. The only notable chance that I can recall was Obafemi's chance when he came on. That was just wide of the goal. Well taken, but just couldn't get it on target. Other than that, Argyle really didn't have any opportunities. But QPR were constantly trying to go at us, and the shots on target, I'll come into the stats later, show just how many chances they did have. With that dominance, Rooney did make some attacking substitutions. And I think on 63 minute mark, he replaced JB with Houghton, not really attacking, but more to shore up that midfield. Obafemi came on, making his debut for Hardy, and Issaka replaced Sissoko. We had a few sort of chances with Freddie making some runs forward, linking up with Mumba, but at the end of the day, still didn't really muster anything in the final third. Late in the game, Sukes came on making his debut for replacing Mumba, and in the 78th minute that was, and then followed by Galloway for Ogbetter in the 87th. It was around that time, I think, when Sukes from a set piece was pulled down in the box. Yeah, it could be 6 of one, half a dozen of the other, but I think the ref was going to give a penalty, but he went to his linesman, or his linesman interjected and just waved it off. So shame, because that would have been a massive advantage to Argyle. And then not long after that, Freddie Issaka, chasing a clearance that he made from the pressure from QPR, chased down the defender that was the last man, and just, both of them going for the ball. But Issaka, you can see from the replays and photos, his studs were up, clattered his shin. Just one of those, not deliberate, and the ref came over straight, red card, which was, for Issaka, not ideal. Unfortunately for the young lad, 3-game ban now as a result of that. But, at the end of the day, we held on and managed to grab the point, which is where I said it felt like a win. I know Andy's going to give a different view to this, but Gavin Ward, again, having a shocking performance. He did get the 2 cards right. At the end of the day, Forshaw's first yellow, second yellow, and then Issaka's red card. So unfortunately for Argyle. But overall, look, a very hard-earned point. That felt like a victory. That's my initial thoughts on the game. I'm going to bring Andy in now. I just want to quickly say thank you, though, to everybody who's joined us on the session so far. Lots of people coming in, even some Exeter fans by the looks of it. So thank you all for joining. We will come on to your comments. But Andy, over to you, mate. Give your view.
Yeah, controversial. The referee was a bit controversial, but I thought it was fair. And I think we just got to take our green tint glasses off sometimes and look at it from the perspective that, Forshaw's, he should walk because 2 yellows make a red. Second one, we all know that was a stupid challenge and he could have just let the ball, go out of play or just, chased him down a bit. But it was a silly free kick to give away in a stupid area. First one, it was more like rugby, and you just couldn't keep the pace with the guy. I think, they were getting away with a lot of stuff, QPR. Particularly Dembele. I thought he was on the deck more times than anything and looking for free kicks and, getting our players booked. Issaka, I felt sorry for Issaka because I think he's a genuine lad and he went for that ball 50-50. But, his studs were up and it looked dangerous. Did he make contact with the ball first? I don't know. I haven't seen the replay, but I think, he was a determined young lad going in for a ball. And there's no malice there in my eyes. I just thought it was a 50-50 thing. And, the QPR player came off worse. A lot of decisions could have gone our way. We should have had a pen as well. But, they could have had a pen. I think the ball struck a hand in there from one of our players. So it evens itself out. I just think we've got to take our green tints off, and I think... the referee. I think the referee played that fairly today.
So yes, I think that it's one of those where the crucial thing again, I think for the second game, after the second league game after the Wednesday game, with going down early, it was almost like, how are the players going to react? They did well against Hull. It was a great reaction. And you just wondered, this is going to unsettle things. But they were just really calm and composed, and you do have to give full credit to Rooney and his coaching staff, not just the players, for turning things around, don't you?
Yeah, and you had Joe Edwards marking that guy who scored for them. Was it Frey? And, he got to the ball first, and it was a good header. It was a good goal to open the game with. And we were a bit quiet from our set pieces. We didn't deal with our set pieces very well. But then Whittaker, that's exactly what he needed, a goal. It looks scrappy, because he did. I think his original effort was, as you say, he hit it towards someone, even maybe towards goal, and it hit the defender, came back to him, and he just smashed it, and it was a typical Whittaker goal. But he needed that. He needed that sort of goal to get him set up for this season, maybe get a bit of confidence back. I think that's been coming back over the last couple of games. And I know that he's going to be chomping at the bit now to go and improve himself a bit more.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And just looking in some of the comments, we've got John Lane. Sorry if I pronounced that wrong, John, but welcome to the live. Yeah, as a QPR fan, Connor Hazard played an absolute blinder for you boys today. Thoughts on Rooney early doors? Just on that, I think all of us on here, myself, Andy and Carl, been very positive towards the Rooney appointment. Obviously, the first Wednesday game was a bit of a sort of dent to that confidence, but it's all about being patient and not just relying on one game. But these last 2 games, and I think, digging out that result and not, even though we were under pressure, we did play some good spells of football. It was just our final third, some decision making and passing was lacking. But yeah, happy so far, and I think it's still going to work out. I
thought Hazard played really well today, Mike. I thought he had one of his better games. There was a lot of good shots coming in from QPR and very, very dangerous towards at the end of the second half. But he made a couple of saves, one against the post, and then he sort of saved one down to the right, and then the follow-up shot went to his left, and he was down to the left, pushing it onto the post and pushing it past the post. I thought he was brilliant today, outstanding. Although he did drop his Man of the Match award. That's funny.
Yeah, I saw that. I was trying to rewind it, but I was on my iPad being away and I couldn't do it. I see someone I see someone did share it, but that was quite funny. I have just banned the Exeter City fan because of just we don't mind banter in these live sessions at all as the Block 9, But when you come in and you just start sort of blaspheming and bad language, all that sort of stuff, that's not for this pod. So thank you very much, but you won't be coming in future. Marcus, a regular on these sessions, it's going to be difficult for Grimshaw getting in the side with Hazard's performance. Yeah, I think, the signing of Grimshaw, I mean, as everybody knows and Rooney highlighted, you want that competition for positions in the game, so that clearly has made Hazard, and I did feel in those first couple of games, Hazard felt a little bit lacking, in confidence. He seemed a bit unsettled on the pitch, but yeah, today, you can't fault him at all. Thanks everybody who's given the likes as well. Keep tapping that screen. It's good to have you all on board tonight. Carl, let's get your view on the game and any key highlights and things from you, mate.
Yeah, we'll start off with the ref. I think I know what Andy's trying to say. Obviously, we're all going to have green tinted specs on, but I think overall, he got the two red cards for me spot on. I don't think we can argue with him regarding the two reds. Obviously, both yellows were deserved yellows in my opinion. The first one was just a clever foul, wasn't it? He was tugging his shirt when he was trying to break through, which he wasn't guilty of doing against Hull at home last week, where he didn't put a challenge in or didn't say do a cheeky foul to break that play up, which could have prevented Hull from scoring. So it's kind of one of those where if he does or if he doesn't, he's still gonna get the blame. But then you don't go in a few minutes later and do a tackle like that in a pointless position where he could have just seen out of play or just let him run past him, But you don't. Yeah, the space between the two yellows was a bit silly, and he deserved to go on that. But overall, I think the referee was quite trigger happy with blowing up for fouls for QPR. I don't think all of ours were deserved fouls. Obviously, he booked a lot of our players compared to them. I think overall he's been a poor ref when he's managed us in the past as well. I think that's where a lot of the hate comes from, not solely on today's game, because he got the key decisions, I think, correct. I think it's just in previous games when he's managed us, when he's refed us, he's been pretty poor.
Well, he's been even Warnock was critical. I saw someone share a video of him, back in 21 or whatever it was, and calling him a celebrity ref. Just quickly, thanks to Vine Macy for the roses, and of course equally Andy, for those two. So always appreciated. Brandon equally sending a couple of roses on there as well. So always appreciate the gifts, guys, and keep tapping those likes. So Dane's evening. Dane said the same thing about the suits. I feel the 6-1 happened as the other car. At the end of the day, the player did drag him down and spin him round. And I swear I saw the ref. I know Rooney alluded to this after. Go to blow the whistle as if to give it, and then look to the linesman, who then seemed to change his mind on it. What was your thoughts on the red card?
Yeah, I was just about
the penalty. Sorry,
the penalty. Yeah, I was just about to come on to that. I think it was 50-50, to be fair. I mean, Such did have a lot of the shirt of the QPR defender as well. So I think it's one of those where it can be given, or it's very. I think I'd been quite harsh on QPR if we did get a penalty. I know, again, that's us with our green tinted specs on. We were all shouting for a penalty at the time, but looking back at it, they were both pulling shirts. I don't think
I looked at the side angle there, Carl, and I thought,
give it, to be honest.
Oh, sorry.
Especially if that went on, if that was the other way around, I think we would have been pretty pissed off if QPR got a penalty for that. So at the end of the day, I think it was a fair call.
Yeah, I'd say I looked at the side angle of that, and I thought, penalty all day long, first of all. But then I saw from the side angle, Sheesh was doing exactly the same. They were both pulling shirts. So you see them given sometimes, but on this occasion, I think they just ref had to play it away, and it could have gone our way, could have got a pen, could have won the game, but it's not to be, and the linesman's doing his job as well. I just thought the officials were good today. Sorry, I'm going to be keeping my tin hat on now. I'm going to get a lot of flack for this probably.
Hey, well, that's what it's about. If we all agreed on the same thing, it wouldn't be an interesting pod at the end of the day, would it?
Yeah. Absolutely.
So here's a question actually coming in from Tom Honeywell. Sorry, evening, Tom. Thank you for joining. Looked like a change in the system today. Thoughts on that? Still not convinced on Gibson and Galloway. I completely disagree on Gibson and Galloway. But Andy, conscious of how much time you do have left, but what's your thoughts on that comment from Tom?
Yeah, I thought Gibson today, he did his job solidly. Galloway, I thought was immense again. He was composed on the ball. Did what he had to do. I thought the back four generally played quite well. I can't sort of see an argument for it. I just thought, there's two players there playing in a game where you're going to get QPR. Yeah, I mean the first 5 minutes QPR were at us, and then towards the end of the game, sort of the last 20 minutes or so in the game, it was just constant QPR coming at us. And Dembele was being a pain in the neck, and that Frey was a pain in the neck as well. And I just think, we had to sort of stand our ground, and we did it. We did it really well. And Joe Edwards, what a performance from him as well.
Yeah, exactly.
The back four are amazing today. Mumba, could have played a bit better, but I thought generally they were okay today.
Yeah, evening, Lewis. Thank you for joining and following. Up the Greens from a Torquay fan. That's from Mr. Howard Lover. Thank you for that comment. Dane, lots of positives, but ill discipline will cost us. Well, so something else actually on that. Was Randall. So after JB getting that, and this massively disrupted things for us. I know we didn't have a really sort of clinical final third, but sort of JB was actually making some good moves forwards, and I think I'm not the best of what people on tactics, but it looked like he was maybe playing in a bit more of a sort of different position, more of a forward position. Would that be fair? But he seemed to get forward.
He looked more advanced, I'd say. Today.
Yeah. Yeah, more advanced. But I was going to come on to Randall. So when he had that foul that he didn't win in the second half, and then throwing the ball down, when you've already lost a key midfielder and you've had to take off a creative midfielder for a more defensive with Houghton, and then you go and sort of do that. I think that was just before actually the subs, and it's just like, why? That's ill discipline, absolutely. So after Forshaw being ill disciplined, Randall should have been a bit more composed on that. Evening, Richard, Steve. As well, JB best game today. Yeah, agree. Andy, what was your thoughts on the ill discipline with Randall in the game today? There,
it was. It was one of those games where QPR were looking for it a lot of the times, and we were getting a bit frustrated, weren't we? So we were just going in on challenges, which probably we didn't need to go in for. But I think Rooney's installing that aggression into the side. That we looked a lot more aggressive today in our play than we did against Sheffield Wednesday, for instance. So I think Mr. Rooney is sort of imparting that. So you've got to get in their faces and get a bit more aggressive in the tackle. So, and I think QPR would have, they were sort of going down too easy. I thought Dembele spent a lot of time on his backside. And I think, come on. The Argyle fans said it, about cheating so-and-so. So, you can hear the Argyle fans shouting on TV, that, cheating, we know what you are, sort of thing. So I think there's a lot of that going on as well with QPR and wanting to get our players booked, because we did look dangerous. Until Forshaw got sent off and directly after the goal, we actually looked quite dangerous. We could have gone on and scored a couple.
I think that's the frustration for me. I mean, Carl, coming to you for your point as well next, but is we did control, like the first half stats suggested, especially right ironically, they were showing them right up before Whittaker's goal, but we were in 60% possession. It ended up 55-45, and that was the final stats as well for the full game, which you could understand with QPR's second half. But yeah, even Sissoko wasn't brilliant in the game at times either. Whittaker made some great runs, but then got caught with too many defenders around him, was late making some decisions with that. For me, he's still not getting past those players like he used to. That was just my observations. Carl, what were your thoughts with that final third of Argyles today?
Just going back on the Randall decision, I think it wasn't really the challenge that got him booked. It was the kind of the way
he threw the ball down.
Yeah, it's throwing the ball down. There's kind of he muttered something to the ref as well. So yeah, ill discipline, but you kind of expect that at that stage of the game where kind of decisions are going against us, players are going to do that. But it's not across the board. We've seen even in the whole game some of the players like kick the ball away, and it wasn't a yellow card, and referees are being told to stop. To keep giving yellows for players who keep stopping up play and kicking the ball away. But there doesn't seem to be no consistency with that.
No
game.
No, absolutely. And in the final third, then, do you agree with? I just seen Alfie, who's I think a Wednesday fan, saying Whittaker was non-existent against us. Every 11 players on the pitch were non-existent against Wednesday.
Everybody was, yeah. So I think we've got to move on from Wednesday and not keep bringing it up in press conferences and talking about Wednesday. That's start of the season. We've progressed from there, and we look a lot stronger all over the pitch. That was just a complete one-off. So let's forget about Wednesday. No more talking about Wednesday going forward.
No, so
yeah, in the final third, like one of the comments, I think I've skipped past it now, but we need to try and keep Sissoko on the pitch a bit longer. He seems to be subbed off a little bit early.
Yeah, that was Vince Rennie.
And every time he seems to go off, saying against Hull, we kind of lacked that impetus to go forward, and we lack that threat. As soon as he gets the ball, he looks to do his step overs and get past players and try and get a cross in. So, we need to try and keep him on the pitch a bit longer, but I understand that he wants to bring Issaka into the play as well to give him minutes. Obviously, that didn't go according to plan today. I thought Whittaker, again, put in another good, decent shift, a typical Whittaker goal, another long-range shot with his left foot.
Out of frustration. Clearly.
Out of frustration, And we said this last week, didn't we, about him needing to get on the score sheet as quick as possible to get his confidence up, like Andy said. Because when we have a confident Whittaker, we know what we're going to get from game to game. So hopefully that will kickstart his season. Hardy wasn't really in the game too much, but then we understand why with that, because he was kind of then on his own up front when we had the red card. I thought the Obafemi looked quite bright when he came on. Obviously, he didn't have much of the ball, but he looks a unit, doesn't he? Not tall, but he's really, really stocky. He looks powerful.
Yeah, he won the balls in the air as that were coming over in the air as well, which was good.
We saw a bit of his pace as well. Decent enough shot in the time he had the ball.
His first touch was good as well.
Bring that ball down.
And for 24, he's got quite decent experience. So I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do over the next few games. But I think game by game, it was starting to improve all over the pitch. It didn't make it any easier today with the Reds, did it?
No, exactly. And Andy, how long you got? Just conscious to see
3 minutes, mate.
Yeah, so I'm just going to give some game stats, which say, because what I want to ask you, Andy, is what you feel are still our weaknesses. I noticed Dane commented about it. The midfield being too open. Stats in the game. So there were shots on target with 10 to 1. So and Whittaker's obviously was the only shot on target because it was a goal. Off target, QPR had 10. We had 2. Again, that says everything about all that possession that we did have in the first half didn't really amount to anything. 55-45, as I've already said, it was the reverse in the first half. It was more us than QPR clearly dominated the second. 11 corners to 1. So again, Argyle not getting much in that final third, not even winning any set pieces there. Defended the majority of corners well, except for that brilliant one caused by the goal. Keeper saves. This is interesting. 0 to QPR's goalkeeper, and 9 of which, I think 8 of those, were probably, well, if not all of them, were big saves, in fairness. So what's your thoughts, Andy, going into, not forget Watford for a minute, going into Stoke at home on Saturday after they've lost 2 games now on the bounce?
Yeah, she was going to want to put that right, isn't he? And what better place to come to Home Park, with a crowd who are going to sort of expecting Argyle to go in and play well and win against a side who he knows inside out sort of thing, apart from a few new players. Just going back to what you mentioned about the stats and all that sort of stuff, the final third is the issue, is the problem. Through no fault today, once we got back to 1 each, I thought, we're going to go and win this, and then Forshaw gets sent off, and we still played well for a good part of that half, and then early into the second half as well. Final third is the issue at the minute. I think. Does he play 4-4-2? I think he plays one just behind Hardy, doesn't he? I don't think. Hardy struggled up front today on his own.
Here's a question before you go.
He never had that. He never had that ball through to him. He never had support. Never had crosses into the box, and so we were shot shy apart from Whittaker's goal.
Yeah, so here's a question before you go. Do you put Obafemi on in favour of Hardy at home against Stoke?
No, I put them both on together. I'd have them both up front. Okay. I'd go 4-4-2. I thought the back four today said were good. And the midfield could have did a bit better, but I think that JB played well today. Forshaw was off the ball. He's not going to be playing the next game. So who do you bring in? Do you bring in Callum Wright or something like that? I don't know. Or do you bring in sort of Bundu or anyone like that? I just think, going forward, I'd just go for 4-4-2 for that game. Have the both the pace of Hardy up front and also the electric pace that Obafemi's got. I thought he was excellent today when he came on, and given a bit more time on the pitch and a bit more sort of ball service, he might have done quite well there. But they've got to be fed. The front two have got to be fed. Hardy's the sort of hot dog merchant or the goat or whatever you want to call him. He'll score goals. But Obafemi, he's got the pace and he just is more direct. His first touch is good. Yeah, quite impressed with that.
Yeah, I think the sort of, for me, the Obafemi, I've asked Carl to sort of compile some insights on him as well, which we'll come on to in a minute once we fully reviewed the match. But yeah, just I mean, even Divine Macy's pit in Akinfenwa, yeah, absolutely, who was, sort of always one of those Achilles heels for Argyle, wasn't he, in taking us out of the playoff final and even at home, from recollection with him scoring a goal, I think. But yeah, looks strong, looks physical, even though he doesn't have the height, he did win a couple of balls in the air. He put pressure on defenders with his strength, which is going to cause some trouble. And yeah, possibly, Andy, you might be right. With Hardy, sort of working with him and feeding off him, or even Hardy can be good at holding the ball when it gets to his feet. Not so great in the air, but then passing a ball off to someone with pace like that. And that one effort that he did have that he created, not really out of much. Was good. That he's not shy to shoot a goal either, is he? So thankfully, so yeah, I think that could be. For me, I'd like to see him coming on and starting on Saturday. Marcus saying he looks more like a boxer than a footballer. Let's hope his attitude doesn't come in, to play. We'll bring up that when we do a bit more of a review.
He reminds me a lot like Traore, who was at Wolves. I think he's at Fulham now, but he's very, very short, very, very stocky, and he greases himself up before the game, doesn't he? He's a very, very similar player to him.
Yeah, absolutely. So again, guys, thank you for all the likes. Keep tapping that screen. Welcome everybody on tonight. When trying to catch up with those that have joined Riggs, SZN. Thank you for joining. Yeah, what are your thoughts on Sunderland versus Burnley? So that was a Sunderland 1-0 win. I just haven't got the results up in front of me today. It just goes to show, I think, that with all the stuff going. For all these clubs that come down, they're going to be the ones that go back up, straight back up, and not all of them do, as Leeds realised last season. I think to get a win against Burnley, if you're a Sunderland fan or Burnley, I don't know, but, is pretty good, So they are definitely going to be strong, but every team, that's what's so great about this league, isn't it, folks?
Exactly, Mike. I mean, look at Luton's start. They're in the bottom three, so they've had a terrible start already, which is a surprise for me.
Yeah, exactly. So, it's good that, we're not in the... well, I don't know how it ended in the end, actually. Are we still out
we're just one place above, same as it started the day, really. So, like we said, we need that first win to really catapult us up that table, and we need it soon.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly, Carl. Yeah, with 2 points, out of the 3 games, it's like, okay, under Rooney, new team and all that sort of stuff after that first game performance, happy with that. Yeah, it's Cardiff sitting bottom with no points whatsoever, Luton on 1, as you say, and then Millwall on 1, then followed by ourselves. So
that could change tomorrow because it's Cardiff and Swansea, which is going to be tasty.
Oh, yes. That'd be worth watching. Yeah, you got Norwich City above us, QPR on the same number of points just above us on that. How did Preston get on with their new manager today, or did they lose? Just out of interest. They won 1-0, so good start for the new manager there, because they hadn't scored a goal, I believe, in like about 7 or 8 games. Any final thoughts, Andy, before you go? Further final thoughts? He's cooking in the background, I think. I can hear some noise. Let's just look through some of the other comments. Steve Argyle, evening. We've been playing 4-2-3-1 and doing it better, slowly, and no need to change. Yeah, I think it's all those wing backs he likes to use as well. Even Edwards did superb, going forward at times, trying to support Whittaker and being conscious, even when we were down to 10 men, doing that. Best league in the world, easy, Steve says as well, absolutely. Evening, Sean, and I see Richard's in as well. So of Jana's on tour. Hope we stay in the championship. Look, it's so early doors, but that in spells, you've got to say that's probably one of the best Argyle performances for sort of holding possession and moving the ball around.
And defensively as well. Really good.
Even with all the shots QPR had, the defence, Edwards equally pivotal, flicking some balls away from that goal mouth. Evie, good evening. Good debut for Cooper today, looked comfortable. That's interesting, so a Sheffield United fan who's joined us before. I did see he was in the starting lineup, so I don't know how your game ended, and I'm trying to find the result.
Draw.
Was it? So, because it was a later kickoff. Am I right in saying that? So, fair play. I mean, Cooper's a fantastic goalkeeper. We wish him well, but we'll move on swiftly. He's all fair play to him. I mean, thanks for coming on and giving us that insight. Marcus, against Watford, why don't we try Zooks as a centre midfield? Well, to be fair, Carl suggested it in the halftime WhatsApp. Sort of bringing him on for JB. My concern with Houghton, with the way QPR were driving forward, is that he could get caught out for pace. Obviously, Houghton did come on for JB, I think he could be. Zooks could be flexible, and the fact that he got into a potential area to win a penalty was exciting when he did come on. Scraped it by Sky Sports highlights. It was JF 109 evening. Yet I wouldn't say we scraped it. We absorbed a lot of the pressure, but we defended well. But in the first half, we controlled the bulk of that first half possession. Just our final third. Sean Sullivan evening. We will be fine. Rooney will be a success. Steve again, Argyle saying agree with Marcus, but leave us short of a centre back. And I think Marcus or someone mentioned about Galloway and Gibson being right-footed, but with Mumba and Edwards either side, again, I thought they were pretty good. I think Mumba's game was a little bit off. Not as good as against Hull, in fairness, today. And him and Sissoko did have the odd link up where they switched, but not as strong as he was playing against Hull. Issaka was unlucky. Yeah, he was. It was just one of those. Can you review a straight red? Is it a straight red you can review, just not a double yellow? Because I do wonder whether or not they might reduce the match.
No, you can't. What's the word? You can't challenge 2 yellows. We can try and appeal against Freddie Issaka's, but I think if you fail the appeal, you get another one, so he could be banned for 4 games.
Right.
But I don't think it's worth the risk, because I think it was a red card and a deserved red card. I wouldn't say it was dangerous. I think it was mistimed. There's no malice in it. He didn't go into injure anybody. He's 18 years old now. It was quite hard to watch the QPR players kind of go into him, and he looked really distraught coming off, and he looked like he was crying. So it's good to see Rooney give a bit of support. Obviously, Rooney's knows that position, being a striker. He's had lots of controversy in his younger days with red cards and things, so he won't learn off anyone better.
Yeah, no, exactly. It's just a shame because he's such a promising, a 3-game ban is just right at the start of the season as well, when that fighting for places is critical. We might even see him come in. Is it league game ban? Can he play in the Carabao against Watford? That's
what Steve just said. I'm not 100% sure. It's a good question. I'll have to find that out.
Because that'll be good to sort of maximise him for that. So if we can, get through, but it's still giving him minutes. And I'd like to see him come on at the start as well. I see Steve's asked that same question. In the press conference, it was Forshaw, not Issaka, who he wasn't impressed with. Yeah, absolutely. In the post-match interview, saw that at the end of the game, sort of Rooney's actual comments, as I've got it noted, if I just look it up here, was very much like the character, determination, energy and aggression is key points, takeouts, and he said it was a deserved point. But yeah, for every player just has one of those games, and Forshaw's had a few reds in his career, but he's not that type of player. I saw a couple of people on X come straight at him saying, "Oh, that's just Forshaw." He's definitely not as good as people say he is. I still think he's quite pivotal in that.
Yeah, it's a difficult one, Mike, because that's our only best real option in that area. I mean, we know he has got some qualities. He's not a bad player. He hasn't had the greatest of starts this season. Obviously, I said about not talking about Sheffield Wednesday. Everyone was crap at Sheffield Wednesday. We get that. He didn't have the best of games last week either. With their goal, he could have done more. Today he did more, but he went too far, and he got the 2 yellows. So it's difficult to put your finger on it. But until we sign another CDM, if we get one through the door, then he's our only best option in that area at the moment.
Yeah. Yeah, no, absolutely, and he has got that experience. He just didn't employ it when.
Well, he's learned from that today as well. I hope a bit more experience.
Exactly. Afternoon, JF. Yeah, Forshaw was just stupid. Absolutely. Richard, I thought Freddie tried to block it. I think he was equally trying to go into, typical striker in that sort of position. And I'm not the expert here, but he was almost trying to nick the ball off his feet to punt it, to push it down, which is why his studs were up. Because then if the defender misses or pulls out the challenge, he's straight on goal. Yeah. So
it's like you see when you see strikers closing down goalkeepers when they kind of jump, put their foot up. That's kind of what the challenge was. He went to lift his foot to try and get a block on the ball.
Yeah, absolutely. What I'll do is I'll just let me just keep tapping the likes, guys, on the screen. Much appreciated, and the gifts where you can are always welcome and equally appreciated. Just to sort of give a bit of a feature of what we're doing, just give us a little bit of a break in the post match on this. So myself, Carl, and Andy, and we also have Sam from Janna's on tour, but he's not with us tonight on this live. But we formed the Block 9 podcast. We sit. It's not that side. I think that's the PA, but it's over on the P side of the Argyle ground. Certainly, myself and Andy and Carl just one block over. We like talking about Argyle. There's some great other podcasts out there. That are also do post match analysis and other things. We wanted to bring our view on the games to TikTok as a platform because there isn't any Argyle ones on here. So we welcome everybody that joins us on here. But we also have a YouTube, an X account, a Facebook account, and also we're on all the major podcast platforms. And the tag on all of those channels is at Block 9 Podcast. So we will record, this obviously gets recorded. I then download and edit it and throw it up into YouTube, ideally, if I can, within 24, 48 hours, but certainly on podcast platforms as soon as I can. So those who either want to relive this session or have only joined us for a few minutes, but want to catch up with the rest later, because you can't now, you can just go on to any major podcast platform and you will find us on there, including all previous episodes. And also where you can, please give myself, Carl, and Andy a like on our own TikTok pages, etc. I'm the Crazy Pilgrim across all of those channels, so fairly easy to find. But yeah, we appreciate all the likes and follows, and if you can share this pod as well, it just helps us grow it and get exposed to more Argyle fans like yourself and other fellow football fans. So I am going to say as well, if people want to come in and give an opinion on the game, or your game, we'll happily do that and come and talk about it. I'm going to bring Richard in, who always joins us as well for every game. And I will, once he connects. Evening, Richard. How you doing?
Not bad, mate. Do you?
Yeah, good, mate. So what did you think of the game then overall?
I thought after the first 5 minutes, after we went one down, we wasn't that different. Then after that, I thought we take some man or some mat. I thought we were betting we were getting behind them, but we just were missing that final ball.
Yeah.
And then we just didn't do nothing after that. You're doing that more than tight. That was something better. I thought it went wide watching it on TV earlier. I thought it went wide off the post. I never knew it went in.
Yeah. No, look, I think I agree with you. It is, as we said, it's that final third. We saw spells of it in Hull and Cheltenham and stuff like that, in the games prior. I think it will come. I think it's just that I honestly feel that the Forshaw thing just a little bit unsettled the style of play. As Marcus just said, the sending off really changed the game up exactly that. Adam Forshaw has TikTok. Well, he also has a doppelganger on TikTok, which is myself, and I probably need to get an updated kit. But this is definitely not Adam Forshaw. If anybody's joining in going, Adam Forshaw's doing his TikTok, I wouldn't be doing a TikTok tonight if I was Adam Forshaw, that's for sure. Excuse the pun. So what are your thoughts then, Richard? Any changes you would make for the Stoke game?
Probably two I'll let them. The centre back, I was betting that centre back, that Hungarian, I thought he was very different in come on.
Yeah,
but
he was good.
But Delaware maybe into. It looked like it's up
Yeah, he took it's a good point, that Richard. He took a knock, didn't he? He stayed on after he got up from the initial knock, and then was substituted for Ogbetter, wasn't he? So that could be an injury concern going into the Stoke game. That's for sure. So
I was with Ben Hardy and Opportunity together.
Yeah, Hardy and yeah, so a bit like Andy. So I can never get his name out sometimes. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, no, cool, good. Let me just go back to some of the comments. Cash Monies, Adam Forshaw, that's who said has a TikTok channel. And Steve said, I wondered who he looked like, or thought he looked like Adam Forshaw, and Carl also reminding everybody that I also have Jamie Kyle isms as well in the looks department. Lie detector results next, guys. Yeah, absolutely. Charlie, evening. Argyle up the Greens. Yeah, absolutely. Down 101. Are you happy with the job Rooney is doing so far? Dan, who is it you support out of interest, mate? But in answer to that, I think after the first game, it was a bit of a concern, and obviously a lot of ex-clubs that Rooney had managed were coming in to say, I told you so. But to get the players turned around, the last two league games, let alone the Carabao Cup game, have shown signs of what this squad can do. And people have to remember this is still a low budget playing squad against some of the sort of budgets that Rooney is used to in previous clubs and other clubs in the Championship. So I'm really happy. Carl, you're equally the same feeling, aren't you still?
Yeah, I've always been positive about the Rooney appointment. Yeah, the eyebrows were raised at the start when he was linked, like probably most of the fan base, but I think once he came in, once we heard from him in press conferences, and when you start bringing players in, and his knowledge of the game is incredible. And he just hasn't been at the right clubs, I don't think, personally. I don't think he did a too bad a job at Derby. I think that goes under the radar with all their money problems and
easy
playing all the kids, which is never easy. And he kept them up the first season, so he did a good job. Yeah, the DC the job wasn't brilliant, but I think he did get them near the playoffs in the first season, I believe, and then they kind of fell away after that. And Birmingham, well, we know how Birmingham went. He just wasn't there long enough, was he? And he didn't have any chance to put a stamp on his on the squad, and he wasn't really wanted there in the first place. So, I'm really happy that he's here. I think he's going to do well for us, and keeping us in this division again will be mission accomplished. And then we push on again next season. I think it's really positive.
Yeah, and Dan, who asked that, is a Liverpool fan, and he's just said again, hope you give him a proper chance. I think that's what there was a lot of uncertainty at the appointment to start with for obvious reasons. And Simon, I really, really hope Simon Jordan, eats his own hat or his mobile phone.
Is he responsible for that guy is?
Yeah, in that session with Chairman Simon Hallett. So, I think he was all over the press when after that first match, and understandably, he's a high-profile player. He's going to sell articles and papers and all sorts. So, and brilliant for all the clickbait advertising. But it's good, and I think against Schumacher, our old manager, at home, it's going to be an interesting one, and I think that's going to be the one where I think that he will get the players up for it. He knows how big these sort of games are, and I think we will absolutely be up for it. So, sort of looking forward, fingers crossed, to our first 3 points of the season against Schumacher.
When he turned down.
Say again, Richard?
Do you think Team Schumacher would that off to reception by our own part?
I think it's if you take the situation of why he left and the suddenness of it, was a bit rash. But at the end of the day, if someone waved a whole load of money at you and you took the view that Stoke is a bigger club if you look at it in terms of history and its league positions. But at the end of the day, you're going to do that if someone comes to you with a really strong offer. Whether or not it works out for you if you move roles, you'll only find out once you do it. So I think it'll be some initial boos, but I think I'd be surprised if he doesn't get a round of applause. Just don't want him to beat us.
Now, me and Sam talked about it, and we just talked about tapping him when he come out. We get into one of the league title.
Yes.
So, he deserved one of ball by the fan at home part in my eye, and what sounds like very true. Doing a chat around and welcoming him back and then defeat him on the day. That would be more better for us than booing him and losing.
Yeah, exactly.
And that happened, and we went one on the day. So if we tap him and beat him on the same day, we'd be home celebrating.
Yeah, exactly. No, hopefully it'll go well. Just seeing Carl Marcus on the amount of abuse Rooney gets, but this club, the fans are unique. We will back him. As with any club, you get an element of fans that will always be negative. And yes, Dan, would you take 4 from bottom? I think for a club that's trying to stabilise itself and build itself, going back to the budgets, if you look at Up Down, we have a tiny budget. So, I would take 4 from bottom because anything that secures us in the league for another season, but I don't think we'll be in that relegation bottom end fight this season. But time will tell. You join us in a few games' time and we'll see where we are then. Marcus also saying, Simon Jordan also said Anthony Joshua done nothing. I would take his word like a pinch of salt. And yet, let's not forget, although he got Palace up into the Premier League by chucking loads of funding at it, he also then sent them back down into administration. So, what an achievement. But I suppose he ticked his box for getting him in the Prem. Ali Griff, evening. I agree with what you say about Shuey, but I don't trust him at all. No. That's always the thing, as Hallett said, that trust factor goes then suddenly when something like that's done. But, you move on, they're not likely to cross paths in a footballing sense in future. Marcus, again, Schumacher has made it worse by going for everyone linked to us. Yeah, so I believe they did sign Ashley Phillips. Was that 100% confirmed the other day?
Yesterday.
Yeah, so I noticed he wasn't in the lineup though today. I did look for that, but I'm sure he'll be in the lineup against us next weekend. Plymouth Argyle 12. Did Issaka deserve the red card? Evening, by the way. Difficult is when you look at a photograph, especially his studs are right up when it connects with the guy's shin, and you generally can't do that. And no malice in it though. What did you think? Did you think it was a red from your point of view? Steve Argyle again, big shout to predict no relegation fight, mate, this early. Absolutely, man, gotta be always positive. I'll never bet against Argyle losing, regardless, and I won't bet against that either. So we're going to stay up under Rooney and for the whole season. He won't be going. You heard it here first. So going to come on to just the player as I try and get back into my laptop here to just go through some of the notes I made. And Carl, Rich will come. I'll come to yourself as well. But so Hazard, obviously man of the match. There was an interesting care of Betfred that was shared, and that's not an advertisement, but and we don't condone gambling. Just to point out, but they shared some stats on X, which was 62 touches for Hazard, 9 saves, 8 saves from inside the box. If you're into these XG things, not everybody is. 2.5 for goals saved in the match, 3 clearances, 2 punches, 1 conceded obviously, and 1 chance created. So some impressive touches for a player there that has had a new goalkeeper come and join us. So it's good that he's turned on a man of the match performance, because that's all Rooney's going to want. If it keeps Grimshaw out because of that each game, hey, we're all going to be happy. And I've never been a hater of Hazard generally anyway. So I gave him a 9. I don't normally do player ratings, but I'll give them anyway in this occasion. Edwards, I thought, was my second man of the match, really, after Hazard. Captain fantastic as well, solid in defence, clearing a lot of balls that were coming in, and also his link-up play going forward as well, as he sort of moves into that wing-back role at times throughout the match. Galloway and Gibson, I gave 7 because I just thought they were fairly solid. Mumba, I gave a 6 because I just didn't think he was all right, but just didn't do anything that shone like he did against Hull. Suzuku, I gave a 6. He just wasn't really effective in this game. It's just one of those from really, and like we said, the sending off didn't help. Forshaw just giving a straight 0, unacceptable. JB, as a couple of other people also said, I think had his best start for us, and I think what we saw of JB, when he was on loan to us last season, he can create some brilliant play, hold the ball up, move it around. He wasn't doing that against Hull or Cheltenham, but he certainly, and even Wednesday, because no one did, but he certainly came on board. Before I go on to others, would you agree with some of that, Carl, that I've just given there?
Yeah, I've just brought the line up to give my ratings. I wouldn't say there was many poor performances at all, really, today. Like you said, obviously Connor Hazard was man of the match. He was absolutely outstanding, which is extremely good timing with signing Grimshaw yesterday. But you want that from your goalkeepers, you know? He's going to feel that pressure now. And it's like when we had McCormick and Larry here, they were always really quite a strong-knit goalkeeper union, and they were both, fighting each other all the time to try and get the number one shirt. So hopefully we'll get that kind of rivalry again between Hazard and the new lad. Obviously Joe Edwards was outstanding again. He really surprised me this season because I didn't think he was going to get many starts or much minutes, but he seems to have got even better. Like what's his name? JF said he's aging like fine wine. He just seems to be quicker. He's a leader on the pitch. Obviously, he's good at commanding his areas and talking to other players. And I think for me, he's one of the first names on the team sheet at the moment. Lewis Gibson again was solid. Brendan Galloway was solid. Like you said, Barley Mumba, he was okay. He didn't do anything special. He had a torrid time against Dembele anyway, because he's a top player, so he's always going to struggle against someone like that. But I think he held his own okay. Obviously, Forshaw, we won't go much on that. I thought Randall did okay. Obviously, Whittaker's come back. Looks like he's starting to hit some form now. I thought, JB again. He looks stronger game by game. And I think I would try and maybe advance him a bit more up the pitch like he was today in that kind of cam role. Especially with only 1 week left of the transfer window, I can't see us really bringing in another two players. So if we can only get a CDM in, I would maybe try and push him further forward in that role.
Yeah,
we saw what he did at Middlesbrough last season in that advanced role, and he was the best player in the park. So if we can try and adapt him into that position, that will be good. Again, we've talked on Sissoko. We just need him to stay on the pitch a little bit longer. Maybe Rooney's trying to protect him. I don't know.
I think it was that yellow giant Dr. and probably.
Say again, Richard?
The sort of got a yellow jar in the first half. I think Rooney get him off with safety.
Yeah, I think he likes to protect him. He doesn't want to give him maybe too much exposure, which may then, come back to bite us in the ass in January if he gets recalled. But we want to see him on the pitch a bit longer than he is currently, because I think we do miss a spark when he gets taken off. And we should probably see that over the next few games now, with obviously Issaka being banned, so you may leave him on a bit longer. But yeah, all positives today, Mike.
Yeah, and just
very tired.
Yeah, well, but again, that says everything to the stats I gave, Richard, in terms of there was just the only created shot on goal was Whittaker. So Hardy, I just put down as a 6, but not really in the game, but was did what he usually does when he was able to. And just to point out, Carl, it's backside, not the other word, because we have TikTok community guidelines, and the last thing I need is to get.
We also have young kids from Exeter come on and abuse us as well. So
yeah, exactly, which we banned. But yeah, TikTok community guidelines. I have to make sure that I keep this in check because we don't want to get banned. That's for sure. Because you'll miss us talking about things like this all the time. So yeah, Ali Griff saying so relieved for Wits, bar of soap for Carl. Totally agree. And also, Ali Griff said on Joe Edwards, Joe settles us and grounds us. It's just having that true leader on the pitch. And I know Gibson got the armband against the Wednesday game, but no disrespect to Gibson, the quality player, but I just don't think he's captain material. So and nice little emojis there, Carl, in response. Marcus saying, do you think we won't get any more loans? We have 4 now, so yeah, we've got 1 back. I don't know. It'll be interesting. I know, Carl, you just said you don't think there'll be any more signings now before the end of the window, but we just signed 2 in less than 24 hours. I
think we're still. Oh, go on, Rich.
I think 1 more will be in because Rooney said 3 signing and done in that.
Yeah.
So I reckon 1 be in.
Yeah, it could be. And, I know a lot of people are trying to influence and persuade the gods for Azaz to come back. So, he's not settling well with the fans and that at Middlesbrough. So you never know. That's anything's a possibility. Evening Sunny who's just joined us as well. Just checking for other comments. Anybody else who wants to come in and give their view on the game, please request to chat. We were hoping to have Blaz on tonight and Mikey Boy, and also Harvey, who does brilliant work with his YouTube channel. He is travelling back from the game, so may not be able to get a good enough signal to come on to talk, but I'm just gonna send them a nudge, see if we can get them in. In terms of the subs that came on as well, it's, for me, Issaka was lively, driving forward. He had a couple of runs and linked up on the odd occasion with Mumba, and I just love seeing him sort of try and carve free players. Obafemi, that we touched upon earlier, brought the ball down from the air really well, sort of challenge a lot of defenders. He's not going to win every header of the ball, but his physicality is certainly going to pit a few people off. That's for sure. Cheers, Richard. Zooks, like I said, sort of, I'd like to see what else he can do. We might see him start against Watford, I think, considering giving him a chance. And Ogbeta, needs to definitely show a bit more than he did in that opening game to come on. Marcus, I think we might try to buy Divine or a shot bid for Azaz. Yeah, I did see you actually note about Divine earlier, and would he likely come back?
I wouldn't be against Divine coming back, because if we're signing him purely in CDM, I think that's where he really excelled. Obviously, he only really excelled in that last home game against Hull, didn't he? Played in his preferred position as a CDM, and he was absolutely excellent. Yeah. So if we sign him based on playing him in that deeper role where he's going to excel, then I'd have him back. Obviously, he was wasted when we were playing him as an Azaz replacement, because he's not an attacking player for me. He didn't create anything. He's not one for playing the forward pass through to Hardy. But yeah, if we get him back as a more defensive midfielder, then bang on, I'd have him back in a heartbeat if played in that position.
Yeah, no, exactly. Plym Sonny, you're saying Obafemi was up for the fight today. The red for Issaka was never a red, was a yellow all day long. Yeah, we touched upon that, but you can see his studs go on that player's shin, Sonny. So, that is always a difficult one for referees. Alfie Griff saying to Steve Argyle, but he's unhappy, which could sway it. Yeah, because I think Steve then must have said he started every game this season and assisted today. Yeah, he's getting the fans against him, though.
Yeah, the fans don't seem to rate him, which is really strange. No. I think obviously Carrick's a big fan. That's why he's been playing him. But they've signed Conway now as well, who came on for him in the second half. So, judging by the comments, we're quite happy to see the back of him coming off in that game. So, yeah, I can't see us putting in a bid within the next week. I think if things continue and kind of Conway cements his place in Middlesbrough's team, I think, if we can revisit potentially going back in January and just testing the water, just asking the question, is he available, even if it's a loan, or how much potentially would they allow him to leave for, then there's no reason asking that question.
No, and this goes back to, and Blaz is in tonight, so he's come on. So put a request in, Blaz, and we'll get you in to give your thoughts as well. And I'm sure he will punt those likes up with his fast finger on the screen taps, as he always does.
Talking about the screen taps, Mike,
yes.
My son said apparently there is an app which lets you tap for it, so you don't need to use your fingers, it kind of taps for you. So that's probably where these likes are coming in really quickly.
To be fair, it might well be. We would only want genuine likes naturally, rather than fake likes. But yeah, there probably is, because there's an app to do everything out there. So yeah, I think with Azaz, going back to Azaz though, this is the difference, and sort of where a player can just work at a club. Whittaker, the same at Argyle, obviously still here, thankfully. Azaz, it just worked really well. And you go to a club like Middlesbrough, and there's an element of that I think that might be sort of playing on Whittaker's mind. And he alluded actually in the post-match interview that he did with Hazard and the famous trophy drop by Hazard. But he said that playing at the top level, I think if it's anything for him, it's the Premier League, and it's got to be the right club in the Premier League. But for Azaz, it's like with Middlesbrough, the budgets that they have. He was a $2 million signing. I think Marcus is alluding to there. I can't remember the exact figure they paid for him, but it wouldn't have been too far off that. But they've got money to buy better players if they have to. And that's possibly what those Middlesbrough fans are feeling. It's just like, oh, well, there's better players out there. Whereas for us, if we went and bought him for £2 million, we'd be like, wow, breaking the transfer record again. And that would be huge for us. So it could do Middlesbrough a favour. If you're starting every game, then as Steve I think alluded to, then it might not be an option. But I think everybody would welcome Azaz back. Grass isn't always greener, exactly my point, Steve. So 2.5 million. Thank you, Marcus, for confirming is what Middlesbrough paid for Azaz from, was it Villa? Am I right in thinking
Villa,
that?
yeah. Aston Villa.
Yeah, that's it. Evening, Jay. If you're an Argyle fan or not, or who do you support? What was your thoughts? Steve's also saying a loan maybe, but imagine loaning a player you've just spent 2.5 million on after. But this is the difference in these sort of big clubs. 2.5 million is small change in the grand scheme of what their budgets allow and what they're looking to do. So, for me, yeah, it's like let's. Hey, look, unless you ask, you don't get, do you, folks? So you never know. Just seeing, there we go. Let me get, Plym Sonny wants to come in and give his thoughts. So just bringing you on now. Blaz, if you're still in, Peter requesting, Rach Launchbury, evening. What's your thoughts? Are you an Argyle fan, or have you just come in because you've seen the live session? Chuck a comment in. We'll happily discuss anything. I'm also keen to hear from other clubs. We would like to sort of grow this a little bit and bring other clubs into the fold. Oh. No, we've lost Plym Sonny, so he's disappeared as quickly as I try to bring him in. Marcus, why do clubs keep saying when they buy or sell players it's undisclosed? Well, interestingly, on the Adam Grimshaw, I've had another football app like LiveScore, it's Football or something it's called, and that just flashed up with a notification saying 611k is the actual fee we paid for Grimshaw. I think 600 was the valuation, I think, Carl, wasn't it? And the rumoured amount anyway. Yeah,
I mean, we're never going to find out the actual fee. I think a lot of transfers these days are all undisclosed. You don't really see many that come out and say, we spent 4 million or we sold him for this or that. But you get that, all the rumours that are flying around, how much we probably pay for him. Probably 600-700k is probably the right ballpark there. But yeah, there's lots of undisclosed transfers these days. They don't like to give away too much, do they?
No, exactly. I think I know why Blaz might be struggling to get in, because I think, if I recall, he was going to the QPR game because he lives in London, or might even be Kent, if I recall from a previous session. So maybe they're just not quite in the signal area, which would be good to get. We were hoping, and Harvey did want to come on. We're already into an hour. I need, if Carl is happy to stay or does need to shoot off, then it would be great to have someone else come in. I'm happy to stay on for another 20 minutes, give or take. It's my birthday tomorrow, folks. Please send all those gifts and all those likes for my birthday tomorrow. So that's why we're not doing this Sunday evening as we would do normally. And also it gives us a chance, because it was a 12 o'clock lunchtime kickoff, allowed us to digest it a bit more. We won't typically aim to do a Saturday night game unless, we need to, because it's especially if it's a home game as well. It's quite a lot getting back from the match, getting kids and all that sorted, and then trying to jump on and talk for an hour. Jay Chip, I'm a Birmingham fan. What's your thoughts on Rooney? Interesting evening, Jay. Yeah, so if we've said this a couple of times tonight, but it's good to have an ex-Rooney sort of club fan back in. So as Carl just said and replied to you, impressed. Carl said, if I'm honest, he's at a stable club now and he's at the transfer window. Yeah, look, after that first game, Jay, everybody was ribbing us for that. Evening Plym Laws as well, who's just joined. What's your thoughts on today's game, mate? It's good. I think, the last two games we've really seen what Rooney can do with a squad. And if you consider the fact that Birmingham have a massive wage budget comparison to us and bigger name players, we don't. So we will have sort of issues and gaps within our game because of that at times. But yeah, really impressed with today after going a goal down after 2 minutes. And we did dominate the bulk of the first half. QPR came back at us and really made that man advantage work in the second. But yeah, it's good to see the fight, the spirit. The players seem to want to play for him. The training indicates everything is good. There's no discontent in the club, and the coaching staff seem to have settled in well. So look, he could prove everybody wrong, and I think it will work out for him here. So, right club, right player, right coach, however you want to look at it, I think can make a difference. Alfie Giff also says, love him. In response to that question, Jay, the team is different and he feels invested in us. And I think we've probably seen one of the sort of best, Argyle team. I know it's hard, it's easy to say that from like the start of the year with the Foster situation, but it's good to see them showing signs of that today, Carl, wasn't it? Coming back into the game and playing really well.
I just don't get this general hate for Rooney and wanting him to fail. There seems to be so much negativity around him. It's he's a young English manager. He wants to manage. He wants to give it the best shot he can. Now, other former players have kind of dipped in with management, like Gary Neville at Valencia, and he didn't go back in. He was scarred by it, and he went back into the media, which is fine. But he's very determined to make a good manager of himself, and you can't take that away from him. I like the dedication. I like how he approached us to be the manager, which he alluded to a couple times. So he wants to make this a success, and I genuinely think, he's not going to get us promoted or near the playoffs, I don't think. But if he keeps us up in kind of the lower mid-table area, I think that's job done, and we push on next season with him in charge again, hopefully.
Yeah, I think even if, and Jay's just also replied saying that's good, never had a window with us, grated, oh, hang on, that's disappeared, grated, but style of play didn't suit our players. And I think that's it as well. I mean, as a player, he is loved by a lot of people, even from rival clubs, obviously what he did for England and all that stuff. But, Steve Argyle in the comments has said as well, he didn't have to, he's worth 140 odd million quid.
He's worth more than the club, for God's sake.
Yes, significantly. Yeah. And worth more than a lot of clubs, because a lot of clubs are also in debt. It's only the stadium asset that tends to keep them going. But he's fully committed. I would have loved to have seen like the outtakes, like if they recorded the interviews and all that sort of stuff, because it was a significant shift, and and everybody was sort of assuming we just did it for the celebrity style, but Rooney didn't want to do it for that. So if we were like, let's get Wayne in, because it's like, I'm sure he chucked a few. I always say that to people if they're going for interviews. Don't just let the interviewer chuck questions at you. Pick questions back to them. What do you want to know about the job, the place you're going to? It's important. And I think Rooney would have done the same. And, obviously they both, just clicked. Still early doors. We're not in the relegation zone, even if we're only out of it by one position. And signs are good. So, happy days. What else have we got in these comments then, Carl? So love seeing him on the training pitch as well, really positive. Yeah, I'm off for 2 weeks annual leave this week and next week, and I heard there was that open session. Quite a lot of people, I think, was it just under 10,000 went to it, but I was away from Plymouth, so unfortunately couldn't go.
6,000,
Say again, Carl?
6,000 turned up.
Oh, was it 6,000, was it? Right, my mistake then. But that's still pretty decent, isn't it, for a daytime little training session, even if it is in the stadium. So evening buckets, was ever a red for Fred. I love the little rhyme there. I think it was sad though, not intentional, but unfortunately for the lad, that's going to kill him with a 3-game ban. We're not sure. We did discuss it earlier, but we think he's exempt from that in the Carabao, which hopefully then Rooney can utilise him at least in against Watford on Tuesday. If we get through, and then can continue to use him, because it will be good for him to get minutes and game time while he's missing out on league appearances. Marcus, the best thing here with Rooney, the players seem to want to play for him. Yeah, and that's probably what's helped us as well, Carl, isn't it? Is get certain players in, and I'm happy to go with that, but the Rooney factor.
Yeah, spot on. I think obviously he's attracted players here. I mean, I don't think we would have signed someone like Obafemi without the Rooney what's the word I'm looking for? Effect. Same with, I know we haven't seen much of TJ yet, but he said he came here because of Rooney. We're going to see a lot of that hopefully in the coming transfer windows with him, because they want to play for someone like that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Bucket's feeling that. Neither red. I think Forshaw's first one, I get it, but, sort of most refs might have just let that go. But yeah, he just seemed off today, Forshaw. I'm a massive fan of him, not just because I sort of look like him, but I do rate him a lot as a player. What's your thoughts on our new keeper? So, Carl, have you got any sort of insights then from the sort of stats on Grimshaw?
Yeah, I've obviously saw a few posts from X over the last few days before we signed him about his distribution. He seems very on par stats-wise with Cooper, with his distribution, with his playing out from the back. I believe his shot stopping's on par with Cooper as well. I think the only area which he needs to improve on, which I've seen a few posts on, is coming out for corners and catching the ball. So he's still rough. He's still 26. Obviously, he's going to come in. We'll improve him. And I mean, I was saying he's an improvement on Hazard, but obviously Hazard's put in a great performance today. Obviously, Hazard has his weaknesses as well. Grimshaw will have his weaknesses as well. And hopefully we can iron them both out, and we'll have both two really good keepers going forward. But yeah, it seems a positive move to get a goalkeeper in who can play with his feet. Obviously, we know Hazard's not very good at that, so hopefully they will complement each other quite well.
Yeah, absolutely. We've also had Cobain join us tonight evening, and also Ollie, who's just joined. Give us your thoughts. Ollie Cobain has said he thought I was Adam Forshaw. I need to somehow tie up this photo opportunity. I'm not one that Carl sort of does it sometimes, don't you, with your lad and daughter, the player photos as they come into the ground. I need to probably get one. Because I
wouldn't wear a yellow shirt after today's performance.
No. But yeah,
I don't think yellow suits him.
Yeah, I tell you what, that's the yellow kit I thought looked fantastic on the pitch today. Did you not think?
It's one of our best kits for a few years. I always like something a bit more out in your face. I always like the tangerine one, which we had under Luggy all those years ago. And yeah, it's a really nice retro feel to it as well, because we had one very similar back in late 80s, was it, or the late 90s? It's a really nice shirt. A lot better than the home, I think.
Yeah, and you've got both, haven't you? So Alfie Griff said look-alike. Yeah, absolutely. I'm 44 tomorrow, so just probably 10 years older than him. I think isn't he 32 or something like that? Let me just unblock that comment, because there's a few that are getting censored. Ed Palmer, evening. Thank you for joining. Massive win for Torquay today. What was the score in the end, or do you know, Carl? I haven't looked at that result.
I think they won 1-0 again, and they've I think they're up near the top after the first few games, which is a great start with Watton in charge.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, loving that. And also, I think it was. Where was it? Cobain said opinions on Obafemi. We've spoken about him a few times, and I would start him against Stoke, whether it's alongside Hardy or not. I would still very much consider him. I think the pace that Obafemi can clearly bring is strength. If you got Sissoko and then Whittaker on either channel, and the link-up plays that, the likes of Mumba, the wing-backs, I suppose, and Edwards and that, bring to the table, it's just, let alone, if you've got a JB that's playing well and a Forshaw, another, sort of creative centre midfielder, if we can bring one in, that I think he will open up opportunities, I'd love to see him start. Was it Marcus saying, I thought I was watching Norwich with that yellow kit? Yeah, I suppose there is a bit of that, but it just, there's nothing better, surely, than a player, and which is obviously where a green kit doesn't lend itself. But you shouldn't be making a missed pass with your fellow teammates in bright yellow, should you?
No excuses with that. Definitely not.
No. Let's hope. Ali Griff says, let's hope after today we see Wits on top form. Getting your goal, especially with him coming second behind, was it Smodic, who scored for Ipswich today as well, even though they lost 4-1. So my dad and my cousins were all absolutely overjoyed and in dreamland, and literally I think a few minutes later, then a few minutes later, and a few minutes later they were 3-1 down. So after taking the lead,
Ipswich.
Yeah. So I think for Whittaker, being that second highest goal scorer, with assists, etc., it is important. And he has worked hard over the last, sort of two two games. So again, you just have to write off Wednesday, as Carl said, just forget about it. But Ali Griff, again, let's hope after today we see Wits on top form. I've worried for him. I think that was, I was reading out the same comment. MP, even an MP, that Morgan Whittaker is a baller for you lot. Yeah, he is. I still have issues and why I still believe that he was never a club hasn't come in for him fully yet, certainly not a Premier League club. He had signs of it today. He's cutting in okay, and obviously created that goal off the back of a misplaced pass effectively and got the rebound to smash it in. But he's just not getting in behind those defenders when he's down that right hand side. But that's going to definitely give him a buzz. MP, what team do you support as well? It'd be good to know. You've also said, I was wondering why a Prem team hasn't come in for him yet. Well, when you go from sort of being, at their second highest goal scorer, and all those goals came from the first half of last season, and you didn't muster much for the second half, that to me says it all. But if he turns it on at the start of this season, he will still be here by the end of the window, in my opinion.
I think he will be. I don't think we're going to get any sizable bids in the next week, to be honest. I think we've seen a different side to Whittaker in the last few games. Obviously not maybe so much today, but obviously he was never a player that used to like closing down or tracking back, and we've seen a bit of that this season already, so that's a good sign. But I also think the opposition know what he's going to do, because he is, in a way, a one-trick pony. He always cuts in with his left foot, and I think they kind of double mark him. That's why we haven't seen so much so far this season. I think that teams know what he's going to do with the ball, so he needs to adapt, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does, yeah. And MP's a Fulham fan, so just checking. Did see you were in the lead at one stage, so 2-1 win over Leicester today. So happy with that. I think you were unlucky against United in that first game, and then Brighton coming in and nicking a late one against them today. What else have we got here? DYM has joined us as well. I'm going to open it up still. If anybody wants to come in and give their thoughts, please do. I think if not, we will slowly start to wrap it up. I'm just going to check anything else I had on my notes. I did like Jane Hallett's post. I did retweet it. Did you see it, Carl, where she showed a picture of grit and said that in the dictionary more so defines how Argyle players did today. So that was always good. I'll do a little bit of a advertising shout out to our Block 9 podcast. So effectively, myself, Carl, and we also have Andy, the Grumpy Loyal, and Sam from Janners on Tour, collectively formed the Block 9 podcast. We stream it live on my channel, The Crazy Pilgrim. I'm Michael, by the way, just to put a name to my tag and face. I'm not Adam Forshaw, and I'm definitely not Jeremy Kyle. Thanks, Carl. So we've come on to sort of set this up to talk about all things Argyle and football. So, we welcome as this grows, bringing in other fans of other clubs to give, their thoughts on their game. We have a YouTube, an X, a Facebook, and also we're on all major podcast platforms. So if you just search for at Block 9 podcast, you will find us on those. I do download this and put the recording the following day up on the podcast channels, and then also merge this into a video and put it on YouTube as well, because we have a few people. Not everybody's on TikTok, but this is a platform we've wanted to try and bring this pod to. Excuse me, if you like to listen to it on YouTube or on the podcast channels, post the live, because not everybody can make this. So I'm just going to also read out, because I think it's quite good just to sort of see how things have ended up. I just want to read out the results of today's games, if I can get to it properly. Where am I going? Football. If I can work out how to use this thing and it refreshes in time. So in our league, in the Championship, results today were Bristol City 1, Coventry City 1, Hull City 0, Millwall 0, so another draw for Hull, and Millwall, QPR 1, Plymouth Argyle 1, hey, that's the one we're talking about, Blackburn Rovers 2, Oxford United 1, so a good start for Rovers, Middlesbrough 2, Portsmouth 2, Norwich won, Sheffield United won. So Cooper did concede a goal then with that 1-1 draw. Preston, under their new manager, beating Luton. Obviously, you just come down from the Premier League, so that's a massive 3 points for them, winning 1-0. First goal in about 7 or 8 games, from what I heard earlier. Stoke won, West Brom 2, so that's 2 defeats for Stoke on the bounce. And obviously that's who we play in our next home game, so that's hopefully positive. Sunderland won, Burnley 0. Good result there for Sunderland. And Watford 2, Derby County 1. So Argyle are 4 from bottom, so just shows, those points could be massive for us, come the end of the season. Evening Chi, who's just joined the session from my workplace. Hope you're doing well, mate. Not missing me too much while I'm off either, annoying you and badgering you for things. And no, Chi, it's not England, it's Plymouth Argyle, but I expected that from you. Let's have a look at some of these comments that have come through. What we got, Marcus? How comes that Mona mention no name, who has his own forum, doesn't come on Argyle when Argyle does well? The guy who has a channel that's in the title of his name but doesn't have that channel anymore. Exactly. I think that's who you're referring to. Each to their own. DJ, evening, welcome. You need to get rid of Rooney ASAP. Yeah, I think we won't do that. But thank you for your thoughts on Rooney anyway. So look, I'm going to wrap it up now. So we've been on for precisely 1 hour, 26 minutes. So look, Carl, thank you for your time and contributions today. We were expecting a few others to come and join us, but I think with them travelling back from the game at QPR today, they've not been able to.
Yeah.
Thanks, Ali, for that message as well. Up the Wrexham from DJ. I'm guessing, I don't know how well you did today, but that's always an interesting one to watch. Carl, any final thoughts from you before we sign off?
No, just really over the moon with the point. I think it feels like a win in some ways, because obviously with how the game panned out with the Reds and how long we were defending for, it did feel like our first win. I know it's a point, and it's a good point away from home, but hopefully we can get our first win next Saturday against Shuey and build on that and push on. I think that's what it will take now, just get our first win under our belts, and hopefully we'll see our game plan, our strategy, and the attacking football start flowing a little bit more. I think once that first win is achieved, then hopefully we'll see the ball rolling quite quickly with some points, hopefully.
Yeah, no, totally agree. It'll be good to get that win, which I think will lift everybody. Mark is just pointing out it's the 30th of August, which is the transfer deadline day. Hopefully we can see something else happen before then. As Ali has said, in Rooney we trust. Also, Steve, thanks for the comments. Thanks everybody for the likes. You might catch us in midweek. We might come on and talk about post Watford. I am off, so I might even be doing some sort of live sessions that aren't just football related as well, and even getting involved with my son. Bless him, because it's good to. He enjoys a lot of this online stuff, as Carl, and I'm sure you know, with 2 young kids as well. So
he seems quite. He's not afraid of the camera, is he, for his young age, which is good.
No, absolutely, yeah, and he does have his own YouTube channels as well, all about planes, and it's got more followers than me, which is just mental. But fair play to him. But yes, I'll sign off with Ali's In Rooney We Trust. So absolutely. So thank you, Carl, for your time tonight. As always, Marcus, everybody, Ali, all the guys, Steve, that have joined us and stuck with us tonight. Not deliberately missing anybody out. There's always a lot of people that come in and give their thoughts. We always appreciate that. Like I said, all the major channels, social media channels at Block 9 Podcast. I shall upload these straight afterwards to YouTube and to also the podcast platforms. Please give us a like and follow, and also share and spread the word around about the Block 9 Podcast. Like I said, if people can't make the live sessions or are not on TikTok, then they can find us and listen and catch up on podcast and also YouTube. So other than that, thank you very much, Carl.
Cheers, Mike. Thanks again, and just echo what Mike said. Just thanks for all the support that people are giving us, and give us a follow and a like on the platforms you've just mentioned.
Yeah, and everybody enjoy your bank holiday weekend, and come on, you Greens, take it easy.
Cheers.